In this video, I'm going to show you exactly the tool stack we use to scale a business from 0 to 2.8 million in annual recurring revenue. I'm running a business called IQ with my co-founder Mish, and we're currently doing over 250k per month. And I'm not gonna lie, a big reason for success is that we leverage the best sales tech tools out there, and I want to show you exactly the tools we're currently using. But before we dive in, let's talk about why you need a tech stack in the first place. In today's world, manual processes just don't cut it anymore. A solid tech stack helps you first save time, reduce costs, and automate most of the processes around your business. One thing I want to explain is that you need different tech stack for different strategies. So for example, if you are like a lot focused on cold calling, Nooks or Aurum would be your main sales engagement platform. If you're more of a cold email person, Instantly or SmartLead will be much better suited. If you want to focus on LinkedIn, then Lemlist or HairReach might be much better fit for you. The tech stack I'm going to present to you is the one that we use to get where we are today. And it's also the tech stack we use for our clients. One thing is, don't try to copy exactly the stack we have now, because of course the tech stack we have now making 2.8 million per year is very different from the tech stack we had. We were making 10k per month, for example. Also, bear in mind that we set up outbound systems for so many companies, so this might be a little bit overkill if you're just running outbound for you. But don't worry, I'm actually gonna show you different tool stack for different budgets. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is actually our current outbound tool stack. So that's currently the tool stack that's powering our entire business. And rather than going like into each tool specifically, I think what makes a lot of sense is more to look at the different categories. So let's start with the first one. So data sources. Of course, you want to have a tool that allows you to find the data for the prospect you want to go after. So you need a tool to do some sort of list building, like LinkedIn Sales Nav, Clay, to actually find the data you want to go after. You also need like data scraping tools. So sometimes you need data that's a bit more custom. You want to go on some specific websites and look for some specific data on this website. And so you might want to use a tool like Zenrose, Instant Data Scraper to actually get that data. Then once you have all that data you have been scraped or sourced from somewhere, you need to enrich it to find the email addresses or the phone numbers, for example. So you might want to use a tool like Prospeo to find the email of your prospect, or Full Enrich to find the phone numbers of the prospects you want to reach out to. Then you might want to start looking into buying signals or sales triggers, as we call them. So usually you want to reach out to your prospect at the exact right time. And those sales triggers actually allow you to bring a lot of relevancy, because it's usually data points that indicates that the prospect is in the market for your product or solution. So for this, you might want to use Trigify, Common Room, and the other tools I'm listing here. You also might want to use some tools part of the sales messaging category. So now you have amazing tool on the market to help you with writing those emails and writing the sequences for you. So there you might look into Octave, Twain, that can really help you. Sometimes it's a very creative process, and having a tool to help you a little bit unlock the copywriting flow can be very useful. Then of course, you couldn't do any cold email without email infrastructure. So there you might use a tool like Instantly, so they can do everything for you. Don't need to like care too much about setting up manually. But if you want to set up manually like we do, you might need to look into Cloudflare to buy those domains, set up the DNS records. But yeah, that's for another time. Then we also need a sales engagement platform. So of course you want to be able to send those messages. So if you want to do email, you might want to use Instantly. If you want to do LinkedIn, you might want to use Lemlist. And then if you want to do cold calling, you might want to use Aurum or Nooks, for example, to call those prospects. And then the last category that I find very important is everything that has to do with deal closing. So you need a CRM. So here I'm looking at Breakcall if you do a lot of social selling, or HubSpot if you want to keep track of all those deals in your pipeline. Then you might also want to use a proposal tool like Quiller, and probably also AI note takers like Attention to make sure that you keep track of everything that was discussed in your sales call. And so what I would want to do right now is actually doing a little deep dive on how I would build a tool stack from scratch. And so here, if I were like a startup founder, I've never done any outbounds, and I don't really know where to start, I would actually get started with those three tools. So first, I would get a LinkedIn Sales Nav subscription, because at the end of the day, LinkedIn is still the best B2B database out there. You have all the prospects you can think of are probably on LinkedIn. So you just want to start using LinkedIn Sales Nav. You then need a tool to actually extract the data and actually find the email addresses of those prospects. So for this, I will use Prospeo. Like they have an amazing Chrome extension to actually extract the leads and find the emails of those leads. And then you need a platform to actually send those emails. And so for this, I would actually recommend Instantly. So just with this, for under $300, you can already get very decent results with outbound. Okay, now if you actually want to get a bit more fancy, let's move to the growth stack. So that's probably more fitting for a company that has already found product market fit. So to add to the three previous tools, I would add Apollo. Reason being is that Apollo is great. The features are like super easy to use, and you're gonna be able to get more precise data than what you would get with the filters on LinkedIn Sales Nav. Then I would add Clay. So I mean, if you're in this mini course, you've probably heard about Clay before. I don't want to make it too complex, but so here I actually took the different plans. And to be super honest with you, I wouldn't go for any plan that's lower than the 349 a month. Reason is that you really need that HTTP API, and you also want to be able to use the webhooks, and you want also to be able to connect it to all the sequencing tools. That's probably the most expensive tool in the stack. And the reason why you want to start using Clay is that typically when you do outreach, you don't only want to find the email of your prospect, for example. You want to look for other data points that might be relevant that you want to add to your outreach. Then I would add a tool like Lead Magic to actually verify the emails you find. And it's also great to compare it with multiple email finders. So you don't want to use only Prospeo, and you might want to also use other email finder. And then I think at that stage, it starts to make a lot of sense to track everything in a CRM. And for early stage company, I think Breakcold is actually better than HubSpot, because if you do a lot of social selling, if you post on LinkedIn, it's amazing to be able to track all those conversation inside of a CRM, and Breakcold is really built for this. Now, if you actually want to get even fancier, so here it already starts for like more advanced companies. I'm probably looking at like seeds rounds, Series A, Series B. I would add like HubSpot. Like I know it's a very old school tool, but as a CRM, is still one of the best on the market. The reason being is that they have integration with any tool you can think of. HubSpot has an integration with it, so it just make a lot of sense to use it to track like your pipeline. At that stage, you also want to start getting into multi-channel outreach. So you don't want to do only email. You also want to do some LinkedIn outreach. So for this, I would use Lemlist. I would still separate the two. I would still use Instantly for email, and I would actually use Lemlist for LinkedIn outreach. And then what we love at CodeIQ is actually to create those evergreen campaigns. So that's the idea of those campaigns that run in the background and that keep generating leads without you having to launch those campaigns manually. And so one of our best play that we've built for so many clients is the website visitor identification. And so for this, we use a tool called RB2B. Only works in the US, unfortunately, because of GDPR. You can only use it in the US. But there, the idea is that you're going to identify all the visitors that come on your website. And then using Clay, you're going to be able to validate if they fit your ICP. And if yes, you're going to automatically send them either an email through Instantly or a LinkedIn message with Lemlist. And so I think at that stage, it starts to make sense to build a lot of those automated workflows. And then the last pack I built, actually here, my bad. We're more looking at $4,000. And here, what I would add, I would add one of the most expensive tools from a tool stack called Common Room. So Common Room is probably one of the best tool on the market to track all the sales triggers. I think they have more than 70 different sales triggers that you can track, like headcount growth, fundraising. And so you want to start tapping into all those sales triggers to bring even more relevancy to your outreach. So at that stage, it really makes sense only if you already have an existing sales team, you already have some RevOps people in your team. Then I would also start playing a little bit with video prospection. So for this, I would use SendSpark. The idea here is that you can personalize video. So the same way you would send a Loom to someone, you can actually use SendSpark to send personalized video at scale. And so that also can help to get better results with your outreach. Then I would also get a subscription with Serper. Serper is amazing if you have a business that's targeting physical businesses, because it helps you to scrape Google Maps listings. So if you want to go about like after physical shops, I think Serper is like one of the best addition to your stack. And then lastly, to help you a little bit with the creative juice, I would also look into Octave to help you write those sequences and emails. And so here we have it, starting from the starter stack at $300 if you're just getting started, moving to the growth stack, that's more getting closer to 1K per month. Then the advanced stack, once you want to start building those automated workflows, closer to $1,500 a month. And then here, more like of an enterprise outbound stack, closer to like 4 or 5K per month. So I hope it was useful, and I hope you're also going to get a lot of values from the other videos coming. So just stick around. This was about a tool stack. If you have any questions about picking the right tools, let me know in the comments, and I will make sure to answer personally.